Hello and welcome to Let's Play Old Games and welcome to Motorsport Manager. Now this is my second video in the how-to series on Motorsport Manager. So these are my guides, tips for new players and how to start the game, and I'll look at different aspects. So in this one I'll be looking at how to make money or how to manage your finances more accurately. So when you start your game, you will start a career, I'm assuming. Now in the career mode you will get this screen first up, where you create your manager. So we will just randomly name ourselves something. I'll tell you why I picked this screen first, because this is the first tip. So we'll call ourselves Adam Jensen. Some of you may know who that is. North America, and I think he's Canadian, I'm not sure. Anyway, so now before you start you get a backstory. So you have X driver. Now if you select an X driver, your driver feedback rating increases by 3. Driver stat improvement is increased. As an X engineer, your part design time is reduced by a day. As a financial, you get the best deals on everything, so everything will cost 5% less. And you also have a politico who will give more voting power, and you can also propose more rule changes, etc. So anyway, we're not interested. So first tip, if you want to make as much money as possible, you can select financial. So you'll save a bit of money every time you do any transaction. So this is the first tip. Now obviously if you've already started, you're like into the season, like half of a season or whatever, you can't really do this again. So never mind, even that is not a problem. But if you're starting out brand new, you can select this to save a bit of money. Okay, so this is the first tip. Now I'll show you my next tip. So welcome to the home screen. Now I've selected Velan Racing in the WMC, the World Motorsport Championship. This is the top tier, the tier 1, and you can pick any you like, and most of these tips would apply to all of them generally in either of the tiers. But I'm familiar with this and I'm doing my main Let's Play with this team, so I can give you a bit more insight. So the first thing that I would like to do is have a look at the drivers and see how much they are getting paid, etc. So we'll just do the male first and then head to that. So this is the main driver screen, our 3 main drivers. We have Siri Lundqvist, Esteban Ribeiro and Roberto Persani. This is how much they get paid per race. So Siri Lundqvist is getting 470 grand, Esteban is getting 563, and Roberto Persani is getting 470. So a lot of money. Now first thing, instantly what I try to do, and this is based on me having done several seasons, is we try and get rid of our third driver, because 417 is a lot of money. Like our main driver is getting 470, he's also getting quite a lot. He's also 29, so he's a little older. Now we can't get rid of him right now because that would cost us a lot of money, so we'll have to bear with him for this season, but we can start scouting other drivers. So what you need for the reserve driver is somebody with a lot of talent, who is very young and who is good on feedback. So if you see Roberto Persani, his feedback is 15, Esteban is 13, and Siri is 12. So he's better than the other 2. So he can give you good feedback. It'll help you with the setup in practice. So we'll simply go into the scouting and we'll select drivers, and we'll select the age range. Let's go young, so 16 to 22. Now Roberto Persani is getting 417,000. Ideally we want somebody who's getting around, who will cost us around 100, 200, at most like 200, 250 tops, like less than what we are paying him. So basically we are trying to save as much money as possible. So right now we don't really have too many guys here, so we'll simply start scouting them. These are all quite expensive. So 56 Bruno Cabral, we'll scout him. We have Christian West. No, he's getting a lot. No, Christian West is 53, so we'll scout him. And Eduardo Melo, we'll scout him. Also, if you just hover over them, you'll get some idea what their feedback is. If you see, Edda has 7 to 13. This guy has 0 to 2. So actually we should skip him because his feedback is pretty poor. And feedback is 9. We need somebody with high feedback if possible. So let's see, Christian West, we'll skip him as well. We need somebody, okay, we'll select them per race. We'll highlight them based on the money and see if we can find somebody who has good feedback, ideally similar to Persani, our reserve driver. So 5 to 10. This is just an estimate. We have to scout them to get. So this guy looks all right. He is, no, she's a girl. J Vera Pol, 22. 22 is okay, I guess, but I would prefer somebody younger. And let's see, 18-year-old, 2 to 8, 0 to 4, 4 to 6, 10 to 15. Hong Liao. So Hong Liao, he can scout. It's only 17 and he's already 10 to 15. So it'll be probably in the middle, say 12, 13. Vanessa Silvera is also looking good, and she's a bit expensive though. These guys are definitely a bit more expensive. So they'll still be cheaper, but we'll have to pay a lot of money to break the contract. So we'll skip one of them because she's a bit more expensive. Nick, no, 9 to 18. So this guy is almost a bit too much, but we can still save like more than 150,000. So yeah, let's scout him as well. Which one was it? Nick, right? Was it Nick? Yeah, it was Mustafa. Okay. Cristiano di Oeste, he's 20 and he's also getting 248, and his feedback is also between 13 and 16. So we'll scout him as well. Now I know this because he is pretty good. He is our reserve driver in my game, so he is pretty good. So we can still look for a bit more. Claudia Dreyfus and Ellie Nightingale, 23. She's a bit expensive, so we'll skip her. We have to find the real gold among them, so let's go with these guys. Max Schmidt 4, and okay, so these guys we have lined them up. So it'll take a bit of time to get them. So anyway, I'll not show you how it goes because it'll take probably like 2 races before we find out about them. So your aim is to find somebody with a high feedback score, at least 15 or above. 16 would be even better. And then basically at the end of the year, because if you start scouting now, you'll already have a few people lined up. Right before the end of the year, you can simply let his contract expire. Make sure that you don't have to pay money to break his contract, because otherwise all of this would be useless. We'll waste a lot of money. Get that guy, the reserve driver with high feedback, and put him in place. You can also switch your drivers if you like, but the problem is getting new people, good people, cost a lot more, because these guys, they will agree to stay on for not too much more. But the new guys, they'll want bonuses, they'll want bonuses for finishing first, etc, etc. So you don't want that. So if we see her details, she's overall decent, her focus is good, overtaking, she's improving, aggressive, etc, etc. So she's all right. Now once we've had the look at the drivers, look at the staff as well. Similar to the drivers, getting new people in will cost you more money. So if you fire one of these guys, because see, you're paying him 30 and you're paying 35. He's a 3-star, he's also 3 stars. If you try and get another guy at 3 stars, they will just cost you a lot more money. So if we have a look at the race mechanics, and we'll look at all of them, and let's look at somebody for 3 stars. I'll show you what I mean. So let's say all of these are 3 stars. You can see they are asking way too much. Your guys are getting 30 grand per race. If you replace them, you'll struggle to find somebody for under 200 grand. You'll have to start up, you'll have to scout a lot of people. See, you are down to 2 stars and they're still making so much more. So our guys are getting a lot less. So try and keep them happy and hold on to them, because not only will you pay them more per race, you also have to pay them bonuses. So let's say you win a race or you finish 5th, you have to select those bonuses and you'll end up paying a lot more. So just hold on to these guys, especially if they're decent, if they are like 2-3 stars, unless they're like completely horrible or something. Because if you see, he's good on pit stops and he's good on reliability. This guy, he's also not that good on pit stops. Reliability is good, but other things are okay. Unless you have like a few red areas, it should be okay. Same with the main guy. These guys, when the contracts are running out, you can get them to stay on, like renew their contracts with a little bit more money. New guys, you'll have to pay a lot more. So yeah, so this is the second tip, where you focus on your staff and try to keep them happy, and replace any, with the drivers, replace the third driver. Now another strategy with getting a young reserve driver is, a little while down the line, few years, your main drivers might start getting old, or they may not want to stay on, or they may refuse to work with each other. So you'll have to get rid of one of them. And if you get your reserve driver who's young and who's improving constantly, in about 3-4 years they will be ready to make the jump to the race seat, and then you can repeat the same process. So that is also cheaper in the long run. So that is more of a race strategy, but is also financially very helpful as well. Okay, now let's look at the third thing, which is the sponsors. Now your sponsors are divided into two categories. You have your race bonus sponsors and your fixed payments. So obviously you want to get as much money as possible from the fixed sponsors. And with the race sponsors, what happens is you can either, okay, let's just skip ahead a bit, so we'll have a few more offers and I'll show you what I mean. Meanwhile, let's look at this thing. Now this is the chairman, and he is just trying to say where we are going to finish. So what he's saying is, if we finish 10th, he'll give us 2.1 million per race, which will be about 31 million for the whole season. 9th place is 39.38 million, 263 per race, and for 7th he'll give us 3.15 million per race. So he's expecting us to finish 9th. Say I will predict that we'll come 9th. So generally I tend to stick with what the boss's prediction is. You could risk it a bit, you'll get a lot more money, you'll get about 600 grand more if you select 7th, but initially you'll be learning. So what I try to do is gradually improve ourselves. It might take a bit longer, but it'll be more stable and our progress will be more consistent. So you could select whatever you want. So we'll select 9th. Now the thing with this is you have to keep him happy as well. Like if you select 7th and you keep finishing below 7th, he will get unhappy and then things will get bad. So we have moved things a bit forward, and we're now going to look at the sponsor situations. So in our fixed payment sponsors, we have slot 2 is occupied by Sheikh Airways, and they are paying us 85 grand per race. So they'll pay us 85 no matter what happens. So we'll get 85. Ravelli and Co are paying us 400 grand per race. This is very good actually. 400,000 is a lot of money per race. They are also 2-star sponsors, and Sheikh Airways is only 1-star sponsor. Now this is our overall marketability. We are at 60%, and this is based on the branding and all those things. Now your sponsor appeal is 3 stars for us, and if you see this is locked, I'll show you how to unlock that. You basically have to build a helipad in the factory. I'll come to that in a bit. Now this is individually the breakdown. So Esteban has a very high rating of 100%. Siri Lundqvist has 40%. So when you're selecting drivers, you could pick something that could help with the marketability as well. But you also get other opportunities, like something might happen which could improve the marketability. Now generally the way I've seen this improve is if you select better sponsors. And so for example, let's open this up, and we have Carney Blanco, they're 1-star, Bango Barbecue are 2-star, and Kashima is 3-star. So if you select Kashima, that's a 3-star. So next time you'll likely to get more 3-4-star sponsors, and the more higher value sponsors you pick, the more your marketability improves. And also it depends on your race and your drivers. So there are a lot of things, but you could do this as well and keep improving. Also your results will matter. So this is one of those things. So now what we'll do is we'll select, so these guys are paying 85, these guys are paying 400,000. So we need to make as much money as possible here. The option here is you could either take the money up front, or you could take a fixed amount per race. Now these guys are paying us 300,000 per race, and they'll be with us for 13 races. So that is simply 3.9 million. Okay. Second one, Bango Barbecue, they're paying us 1.5 million, but they are paying it upfront in a lump sum. Now if you're building any buildings in your HQ, or if you want to build a lot of parts, you could take one of these, but I would prefer to go with these guys, because if you do the sums here, 1.5 per race, upfront, means this is less than 150 per race. That's about 135, I would say, roughly. So 135, and these guys are paying 300,000. These guys, they're paying us 200,000 per race. So in 10 races, that will be 2 million plus the 200,000 upfront, so 2.2. So overall, I mean, upfront, if you take this divided by 10, you get 220. So in other words, this is 300,000, this is about 135, and this is 220 per race. So you go with the one that pays you the most. Simple. So we select them. So 400,000, 300,000, and 85. So we have 785 per race. Now with the race sponsors, you have the same situation. However, they pay you only based on how well you do in the race. Now 4th or above with a 9th place team is unlikely. 6th or above, unlikely again, and 5th or above is also unlikely. So what I try to do is I try to pick somebody who is paying money up front and who isn't with us for very long. So Ambrosia are 3-star sponsors. They're pretty good, and they're only giving us a deal for 3 races. They're also giving us 300,000 up front. So we'll select them, because you may not get lucky and pick, but at least you're getting some money up front, and they'll also run out soon, so you'll have a chance to pick somebody else. Now slot 1, we've only managed to get one offer for some reason. Now Golden Tiger is paying us 13th or above, so we'll just select them for now because we don't have any other offers. They're also giving us 900,000. So for 13th or above, they'll pay us some money for finishing 13th or above, and they'll give us a total of 200,000 for bonus and qualifying. So you'll get 100,000 for qualifying and 100,000 for the race. Northern Harbor, they've already been selected, and they will pay us for 2nd or above, so not likely to happen. And same with Ambrosia, 6th or above, very difficult. So realistically, Golden Tiger, even that is a bit of a reach, but it can be done. So this is the sponsor situation. So you have to maximize your per race income and find somebody. If you only get people who are asking very high finishes, then try to pick the one with the most money upfront and the shortest deal length. So let's go into the finances and look at things a bit more. Now another thing is the chairman. He can give you additional funds, and he gives you some money once a season. Right now it's too early, so he won't give any money right now, but after like a race or two, you could ask him for some money. So he'll give you about what he's paying now. He'll give you another sort of race payment, so he'll give us 2.7 million, roughly like that. Now what happens is, if you take the money from him, his happiness decreases by 50%. So if he's like 100% or very happy, or your job is very secure, you could try asking him, and then hopefully if you improve your results in the upcoming races after you've asked him for the money, you can push his happiness back up and everything will be fine. Now what I tend to do is, early on in the season, I tend to do well in the races. So after the first race, ask him for some money, and hopefully you'll do well in the second race as well, and then that loss of happiness will be recovered because of the next race. Or you could leave it till the end of the season, and right after the last race, if his happiness is good, just ask the money then. So that will be helpful in next season. But yeah, don't forget to ask the money, unless his happiness is very low, then you can forego that. But if you have a chance, try to get some money. So this is our current situation, finances. We have 4.2 million, and we are making 368 per race, which is pretty good. Now this is, I think, excluding the sponsor that pays us money for the finish. So if we finish, say 13th or above, we'll get another 200 grand, which is extra money. So that will be about 500,000. 13th is possible with a 9th place team, I mean a you can even win the race. That's also possible, but you can realistically at least aim for 13. 16, 14 is more realistic most of the time. So that is the other thing I wanted to mention. Okay, yeah, one more thing. You have to also set the budget for next year's car. Now, I would recommend, since we are making a lot of money, we can select the highest payment and see what that does. So we're still in the plus. We're still making some money per race, but we have put a lot of money for next season's car. Now, you need as much money as you can saved up for next season's car, because at 1.25 million per race, you'll end up with 20 million at the end of the season. Now, believe me, 20 million is not enough. You'll still need more money. Of course, you'll get more money based on where you finish in the championship. You'll get some money based on that. So you combine the 20 million you saved up here and the prize money, and then you'll build up next year's car. But like I said, 20 million for a car is not enough, at least for a good car. You'll end up with a pretty bad car. Like, I have not spent less than 30 million on my car in any of the seasons. I've done 7 seasons. So you need a lot of money for the car. So save as much as you can, because if you select the lower budget things, so basically cheap option, you'll end up with 10 million at the end of the season. At the medium option, you'll finish with 15, and at the high option, you'll finish with 20. So if you don't select the fat stacks, if you select the cheap one, you'll see a lot of money per race, and you might end up spending money on other things. Like 680, you'll see that you'll spend money on the parts. Sometimes you may go overboard, etc. So it's up to you whichever strategy you want to do. But if you are trying to save money for next year's car and improving the car, then definitely try and save as much as you can. So this takes care of this financial thing. And let's see if there's anything else I need to mention. There are a couple of other things, like you get dilemmas from time to time. Now, these dilemmas, basically what they offer you is a chance to improve your car. Like, for example, your mechanics will come up and say, oh, we can improve tire wear and it'll cost us like $500,000 or something. I would recommend spending money on that, because that is a cheaper way to improve performance. You get that from time to time. Like, once you are into your second season, you'll get that at the start of the season when you have designed your car, and otherwise it's usually in between once or twice. And what else? Basically what happens is, once a season, the GMA guy, the head of the GMA, which is the Global Motorsport Association, he comes and offers you a chance to table a particular motion. Like, basically you could select like different tire choices or something. So he asks you for 1 million, and in return you can select something you want to propose to the other teams, like a voting. What I would recommend is try to go with a very high merit payment system. So what that does is, teams finishing higher up in the championship will get more money than the teams finishing lower down. Now, you might say that we are lower down, so we should probably go for the standard option, but the difference is quite big. So for example, in my first season, I finished 6th in the championship, and I got 48 million for finishing 6th, which was very good. However, the second season, the teams voted for the standard merit payments, and I finished 6th again, and this time I got only 45 million. Then after that, third season, I think we finished 5th, and we got, I think, about 48 million, less than 48 actually. So what happens is, in the standard merit payments, the gap between the places isn't much. So you'll get, I don't know, for 4th you'll get 52 million, for 3rd you'll get 53 million, for 2nd you'll get 54 million. So the gap isn't large enough. But in the high merit payment systems, the very high merit payment system, that gap will be a lot bigger. So you'll get a lot more money at the end of the season, and you can use that money to obviously build factories and things like that. So basically that is it for the money side of things. This is just a sort of my suggestions and tips on how to maximize the money. Basically, you do the simple thing, you try to spend less and save more. So cut down any expenses. Like, for example, with the reserve driver, you can definitely save a lot of money there, at least 100, 150, and you can still get a very decent driver, a young driver. And in the long run, that young driver will save you money when you promote him in a few years. With the sponsors, yes, pick the ones that pay you the most. And with the chairman asking for the money, save as much as you can for next year's car, and yeah, think about the very high merit payment thing as well. So oh yeah, and one more thing, and in the HQ you have the option to build the helipad. Now this is only 750 grand, and this will unlock 5-star sponsors. Now you could do it at the start of your career. Right now, for example, we have the money, we can build it, and we can forget about it, so we'll have the 5-star sponsors unlocked. However, you won't get a 5-star sponsor until further down the line, so you could wait and you could build it later if you want. So it's up to you. It doesn't really make a lot of difference at the start, but what I did was I built it at the start and I just forgot about it, so it's already done. You don't have to think about it later, so it's all done. That helps. And yeah, so I think I covered all the points, the major points. So hopefully this was helpful if you're just starting out. This will save you, again, like I said, you would have taken a couple of seasons to figure out some of these things, so hopefully it helps. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll make a couple more videos. I'll probably make one on how to do qualifying and how to do the race, maybe look at I don't know, how to manage your drivers, things like that, if there is a need. And if you have any other questions or suggestions, please let me know, and things that you would like me to cover, or if you have your own tips on finances or other things, please mention them in the comments. You can also check out my full let's play I'm doing with Velan Racing. I have uploaded about 3 seasons, and I have recorded a lot more, so I'm trying to upload them as much as I can, as soon as I can, and I upload one daily right now. I'm trying to do more if I can. So yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.